What is up, guys? It's Non-Fungible Guys, the podcast about Web3, which includes cryptocurrency, NFTs. What else? What else does it include? Everything. Tailbill and drum. If you know the podcast, you know that every intro is kind of a mess, and that was just the same as always. My name is Devon C. Codrington, at Devon Codrington on Twitter. I'm joined by my trusty co-host, bro-host with the most, I don't know, with the mostest.
Yep. Ryan. We'll go with Ryan.
Just Ryan?
I'm at NFG_Ryan on Twitter. If you want to give me a follow.
Cool.
Yep.
And of course, the podcast is at Non-Fungible Guys. And today we have a guest with us, and we have
Fito from Pachanixi.
I think the computer just froze. Okay, let's do let's reintroduce him. We have someone that we met at CNFTCon.
Our first guest from our hookups at CNFTCon.
Yeah, we met this individual in Vegas. We had a really good time, and what happened in Vegas stayed in Vegas. I'm just joking, but we saw this person's booth, and it was really cool. And we started asking questions, and then we were like, man, we would love to have you on the podcast and share with the things you're doing. We have none other than Fito from Pachanixi. So Fito, reintroduce yourself. Sorry that things froze a second ago.
No worries. Thanks a lot, Devon. Ryan, thank you for having me on the show. I have a bit of a sore throat, so my voice sounds a bit weird, but it's okay. No pain. Okay. So it's all fine. Yeah, well, I'm Fito Segrera, actually. I'm co-founder of Pachanixi. Pachanixi, that's what we're going to be talking about during this podcast. But perhaps I should talk a bit about my background so that you guys have a context of who I am as an individual, and perhaps that will help us understand how I ended up in Pachanixi.
Well, yeah, good. You know what? Before we even get to there, let me ask you this. Do you have a glass of water? Okay, good. Because we're going to talk for so for those that, it's audio only. But as I said that, he actually just started drinking. Is that water or tea?
This is tea. My wife just brought me some tea. She's awesome. Okay.
What kind?
Oh, this is a vitamin C fully powered tea. Just perfect for my throat.
Okay. I'm sure that it's going to keep you alive for the 1 hour podcast.
For sure.
You know what? Why don't we roll back to CNFTCon and start there and then get into Pachanixi and everything else. So how about you tell us how your CNFTCon experience was? Because in our previous episode, Ryan and I just spent an hour and a half talking about how awesome it was and all the people we met. Why don't we take a second to hear your CNFTCon experience? How was it?
It was incredible. I mean, we are a new project, and we jumped all the way into CNFTCon, and it was overwhelming at the beginning because I know it's the first CNFT conference that actually happens in real life, meaning physically.
Yeah, it wasn't online only. It was actually a real event.
That's right. And it was a huge space. It was full of amazing projects. And one of the amazing things was to get to see everyone face to face. And it was quite funny because at times you didn't know who you were talking to until they introduced themselves. And then you're, oh my God, you're this guy, you're that guy, you're the guy with this avatar or whatever, and it was quite amazing. It was an incredible event, and especially to see all these projects that I've been following for over a year now. Some of them I've invested in, and it was amazing to talk to the co-founders, the creators, the artists behind all of it, to see all the creativity blooming, in this space. People figuring out unique ways of showing their stuff, their work, their art. Coming up with incredible business models, totally creative business models. That's amazing. It was pretty cool. It was quite a journey for us because we had to travel all the way from South America, so it was quite a journey, quite a trip. many hours flying, overnight, like layovers and stuff like that. But it was cool. Yeah.
Where did you which was it the same pathway the way there and the way back, same layovers and everything?
No, because I flew from Mexico. I was living in Mexico. My wife is Mexican. We got married just a week before CNFTCon.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
Thanks, man. It was quite amazing. So we had to plan, because we moved back to Colombia, and so we had to plan, my travels to CNFTCon to Las Vegas, and then simultaneously move out from Mexico, so that after CNFTCon, I could fly back to Colombia without having to go back to Mexico, and she would be already here. So it was quite a thing.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I remember
for sure.
Yeah, when you left, I was asked you where you were going, and you're like, I'm going to Colombia. And I was like, cool. So you mean you were in Mexico and then went to CNFTCon, and then you made your wife move your entire house to Colombia while you were having fun and partying, and then you're just like, hey, I'm back?
Actually, we sold everything before I left to Vegas. And then she moved with the cash.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's right. This is non-fungible, guys. Everybody, this is a great podcast. Holy wow,
that's wild.
So then I came back, and yeah, she was already here. So now we're starting to get more settled in. Okay. I mean, I was born here. Mm-hmm. She's Mexican, but she lived here for about 16 years. So it's not new for her. Her mother lives here. Her sister lives here. So it's okay. We're chilling. We're chilling. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I don't even know what to say.
That's a lot of planning and traveling. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? Ryan and I did a little bit of flying. We had a stop in Chicago, and I slept on a bench, and then we arrived in Toronto.
I was just saying it was like a 3-hour layover.
I know. I was like trying to make it seem like it was something, but it wasn't. It was fine. After
we had a whole 3-hour layover, and we left at like midnight, so we had all day to relax.
Yeah, and I slept the entire time, so it was fine. I'm sorry. Nothing compares to that. Okay, cool. What was your at CNFTCon? What was your of course, seeing all this stuff, it was cool, right? What was one booth where you were like, oh man, this one, or one person or something who kind of knocked your socks off?
Well, definitely there were the big players, the big booths, like Cornucopia's booth was incredible. People gaming all day there, and they had the chance to, show their current state of the art. Which was amazing to see some of the graphics. I mean, those guys really have amazing graphics in their engine. Virtua was pretty cool. They had this, what was it? Was it an Aston Martin? No, what car?
Shelby? Was it a
Shelby Cobra?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing.
That was nice.
That was really nice. It was a beautiful car. The Barracuda's booth also had a couple of muscle cars there.
Chargers, I think.
Didn't they give one away too? I missed the auction.
Both of them, actually. They
gave
were
away, yeah.
Yeah, it was a giveaway. It was a raffle. Like if you hold one of their NFTs, you were part of the raffle somehow. That was amazing.
Were they real cars or were they NFT cars? Were you getting? I remember, I was talking to.
There's legitimately two cars.
No, but I know, but hey, it wasn't like Virtua was giving away that Shelby.
No, that was just a display.
Yeah,
that was a prop. The other one.
Those ones, people actually won though.
Yeah, I think they gave away the actual.
I was wondering. Cars. I'm like, is this just a metaverse? I should have stuck around. I saw it. I'm like, I saw enough cars today, and I walked away.
Listen, I'm embarrassed. We didn't even walk to the Cornucopia's booth.
Oh wow!
We didn't even go over there. I'll admit it right now.
I'm not embarrassed.
I just didn't go over there. I was like, and Virtua, they had a nice booth, but I was so butthurt with how expensive everything was when they came out with their price list.
That's right.
So I was like, I'll eat your Halloween candy, but that's as far as I'll go.
Oh my god! Holy!
Yeah. I'm sure they're great. They're great products too, but I just didn't get over to checking them out. I did check out I did check out your booth. That's how we're here, right?
That's it, man. That's it.
That's all that matters.
I mean, I do hold a piece of like a small piece of land in Virtua, but I don't hold any assets from cornucopias. And you're right. I mean, the land was expensive, but I do think it's a great project. Though. I mean, it's
I think
definitely
so too.
A great one. Definitely.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I held on to those Cardano Summit NFTs for so long because I had all 7, and then the price list came out, and I was like, I'm out. I'm like, forget it. Too rich for me. So I should have bought into it, but well, live and learn, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. I guess you want to just jump into, I guess, how did you get started in the CNFT space, and I guess what's your background to get into Pachanixi?
Yeah. Actually, I started to support Cardano, let's say, or to hold data around 2017, I guess, perhaps before. Yeah,
a real OG.
Yeah. I actually got I moved to New York in 2013. I went there to do a master's degree in design and technology at Parsons.
Wow.
Which is the art school.
I have a friend that went there last year.
Really?
Yeah, she was telling me all about it. Yeah, it was her dream, and so she was and quit everything and went. Great school.
It's an amazing school, and I was pretty lucky because I got a scholarship. It's called the Fulbright Scholarship.
Wow.
Which they just gave me everything for free. So I went to New York and studied for free and lived for free. Wow. For over 2 years.
Amazing.
Which is amazing, yeah. And that's how I got into the entire design and technology scene. I'm an artist by profession, a fine artist. And I did this master's in design and technology. And that's where, for the first time, I heard Bitcoin, which was 2013. While I was doing my master's, and I bought my first Bitcoin at $80 at that time, which is crazy. And
everyone on our podcast is always like blowing us away with how involved they are, and I'm like, okay, great. We're just hanging out here.
Yep. Bitcoin was $80,000 a coin Canadian last year, and you bought it for $80.
$80. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's crazy. And then after some time, I was already like into the crypto scene, but just as a holder, I was really interested in the idea of digital assets with value, and it was just mind blowing. And while I was in New York, I got the chance to go to some meetups and things like that. And I remember before Ethereum came out, there was a project called Next. And Next was the promise of the next generation blockchain after Bitcoin, and that was before Ethereum. And it was during one of those meetups that there was this Japanese guy who told me, "Hey, listen, Fito, the next thing is called Ethereum. It's coming out soon. Check it out."
Wow.
And I went into that and I checked it out, and I instantly knew that it was going to change things in a big way because of the smart contracts and the dApps and all these that they were promising at the time. They were just promises at the time. And so I also got a few some ether during that time. And then I moved. I got a job as the director. Well, they asked me to go to someone asked me to come to China, to Shanghai, to start a research and creation lab dedicated to like art and technology. So I went there and I put together this space, and I started directing this space and working with other artists, doing like all sorts of experiments with robotics and software and creative coding and all sorts of things, all dedicated to arts. And in the meanwhile, I was still like really, really into crypto, but not as a creative, but more like just a person interested in that technology, in the philosophy of it. And then when Bitcoin hit the 3,000 mark, I thought that, that's it. I made it. I'm going to sell them. And I sold them.
Wow. And did you hang on to any of them, Fito?
No, so
You sold?
I sold the three of them, and what I did
Oh man!
was I bought all of it in ADA.
Wow.
Oh
The
my
time.
gosh! So
Yeah,
early.
so I was like, there's this new thing. The one of the co-founders of Ethereum came out and he started this new project. So I read all about it and I say, well, this is it. This is what I want. Like I want
Mm.
a blockchain that has this vision. So I didn't doubt it, and I just moved my, what I got from the 3 Bitcoins into ADA, and I was just holding all the time until I started to, until NFTs came out, and I started to buy some NFTs. So I bought clay and some pixels, and all the blue chips when the whole thing started, and now I started Pachanixi. Like after over a year, I just fell in love so much with the ecosystem and with the potential of it that a lot of my ideas as an artist, as a researcher, as a Latin American native, and all of it, they just all came together in one single project, which is Pachanixi.
Wow. Damn.
That was great.
Yeah, how do you follow that up? Wow.
Yeah, that's a good ride. Thank you for taking us through the whole progression in your experience. I think, yeah, since you're a fine artist, that also makes sense why this would make sense for you, royalties and ownership. And there's so many aspects of it because you mentioned the philosophy of Bitcoin and what it meant. So yeah, you're this Web3 crypto NFTs, this is totally for you. I get it.
That's right. Yeah.
And like, because this guy was at Parsons, he has someone telling him about Ethereum before it even started.
I know that I'm like, oh my god, hey, did you hear about this thing called Ethereum? I was like, wow, how early is that? Like that's
man,
that's insane.
But then of course Fito's just like, yeah, I bought 10 and I just sold them all. Enough to
Well, the thing with that is that you don't know where you don't know when it's gonna stop. You don't know when it's gonna crash. Yep. I mean, I won. I never lost. So of course, sometimes I think like shit. I mean, if I just stay with those Bitcoins, things would be quite different now. But still, I won. I never lost.
Mm-hmm. No, you're great. That's pretty good. Wow, I'm so excited. Okay. Let's come to the present day. We meet you at CNFT Con. Ryan saw Anomalous at your booth, and I was like, oh, there's Angelo. Let's go over, see what happened. By the time we got there, he left, or did we talk to him? I can't remember.
We ended up, you know what it was? We ended up sitting with him and having lunch on the Saturday or the Sunday. We were eating lunch, and he was wearing the hat.
Oh, that's
like, how'd you get the hat? And he's like, oh, I minted 5 of these. And then you're like, wait, what? 5? Because we know he likes to dabble in a lot, like a whale of sorts. So we're like, okay, well, why'd you get 5? And then he started talking a bit about it. So we're like, okay, we got to go check out Pachanixi, right?
Thank you so much, Ryan. That Ryan's memory is so like I completely forgot that I had lunch with a friend. like I'm like, oh, I've never seen it. But yeah, the hat, and for those that can't see, he's wearing the hat now. I liked it. It's cool. It's got the logo and it's in the middle. It's got it's the metallic or something, but I like that. And I was like, that's cool. So then we came over, and maybe you can just tell us about the project from the start. Maybe
what is Pachanixi?
Yeah,
that's all right. So, well, it started at the beginning of this year, and it started as an idea with a friend. So we have this camp, like a big piece of land in Venezuela, and we were thinking about how to plant trees over there. So and this guy, oh, by the way, he was the guy who bought me the Bitcoins.
Oh, cool.
So, and he still got them. So he's fine.
Wow.
So he's a crypto enthusiast, and he said, Fito, listen, why don't we start planting trees? Let's do something good. And you're the tech guy, you're the artist, you're an investor in NFTs. Why don't let's come up with an idea and figure out a creative business model that could become potentially an operation for just planting and taking care of trees. And that's how it started. But then it became like it totally mutated into something way bigger. So let me start with the name, because that will help us understand a bit about the context.
That's hilarious. Devon was literally typing that out in our show note to say, hey, ask what the name is, and you just hit it right there. Yeah. So perfect. What does it mean?
All right. So Pachanixi, it's a composed word. So Pacha comes from Pachamama. Pachamama in indigenous tongues, in some indigenous tongues here in Colombia, means Mother Earth or Mother Nature.
Gotcha.
And then Nixie comes from Nixie Pi, which is another indigenous word, which means as a potent hallucinogenic tea.
Whoa.
Like ayahuasca per se.
Okay. Not what you're drinking now. No, you're just
not what I'm. Well,
okay.
This one is also very potent, but unfortunately,
not in the fun way.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to find your spirit animal there.
That's right.
Just make it through the podcast.
So the original idea was a much simpler version of what we got now. So what we wanted to do was a collection of NFTs that will grow these virtual trees that eventually will give a fruit, and then you as a user could eat the fruit, I mean virtually speaking, and it will take you on a trip, like a hallucinogenic virtual reality trip. So that was the original idea. But then the more we explored our own process, our own creativity, the potential of it, what people were saying about the project and all of it, the more we started to develop other ideas, and eventually it became what it is now. And we refer to it as a techno shamanic metacosmos, right? So basically a metaverse like an experience, right? In the sense that it is a persistent online immersive experience, but with cosmovision. And with cosmovision, we mean inspired by the views of native indigenous tribes from Colombia, mainly. The way they see the universe, the way they see community, the way they see economy, politics, etc. So we're trying to bring some of those views into the logics and the mechanics that we will be implementing in our ecosystem. So, and the techno shamanic aspect of it is the techno shamans is how we refer to our users. A techno shaman is basically a shaman who has not only mastered, let's say, plants, but also technology. So it's a shaman who mixes, technologies with biology and comes up with this cyber biomagic stuff that is what operates within our ecosystem as a storyline. So it's a metacosmos that it's inhabited by techno shamans. Now there are many other details into that, but that's where the name comes from, and that's how it became what it is now in a way.
And you know what? Let's first of all, thank you for breaking down that name. I wrote in my notes Techno Shamanic Metacosmos because that just sounds so cool. But then now I'm actually to take it back a step. Maybe we can even talk about who knows if you know and how you want to define it, but like shamanism and like what the role is there, and like are there shamans that have embraced the digital aspect of things? Are there shamans that have cell phones and email, or is that me thinking ridiculously? Do they have to be totally off the grid, or are they actually like embraced in the current world and how we do things, but then just connected to the cosmic view? Like, is that?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Devin, because we would imagine that they are totally off grid, and perhaps many of them are, but actually no, most of them are connected already, in the sense that they, you can reach them if you have the right contacts, if you know the right people. We are working with some of them already, and the main channel for communicating is WhatsApp, right?
Oh,
Really?
Yeah. So otherwise it will be so hard to get in touch with them. Of course, not all of them are connected, but many of them are. So yeah, and that's really cool because in a sense they have already like this idea of how technology operates, and they are open to it, and that's the reason why we ended up joining forces with some of these communities in order to create Pachanixi. So basically, Pachanixi now is working with a specific community of native South American indigenous people, and many of them are shamans, and they embrace technology. They totally do. It's not that they use it in their shamanic practice, but they do embrace it. I mean, they are totally open. They want to use it to communicate their views about life, their cosmovision, as we call it. And that's one of the objectives of Pachanixi through our ecosystem.
I actually love the thought of being able to connect with a real shaman and have, because I mean, they're been disconnected most of their life, especially indigenous. They're mainly disconnected, right? So it's like their view on nature and life and how, like what you're saying, bringing it to the people digitally is amazing, because that's now right. It's like, who's more in touch than someone that is living like that kind of life that's disconnected completely, right? They're one with nature in a sense a lot of times.
That's right. And the whole idea of techno shamanism is not new for me, at least. This is how it all starts to somehow intersect in my life in one single project, that is Pachanixi. As an artist, I developed a few art pieces within the spectrum of what I call techno shamanism. It happened by almost by mistake. I was invited once. Let me tell this story really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was invited this time once by a gallery to go and do a project in an island. This is a Afro-Caribbean community that lives in an island nearby my hometown. So I went there, and they invited a few artists. Most of them, they took their papers and just papers and pencils and whatever. I took a Bluetooth brain scanner, my laptop, and my phone. And those were yeah. So at the time, there was this headset called the NeuroSky, which was about $90 at the time. It was pretty cheap, and it was Bluetooth, and it had a sensor that could filter some of your brainwave data, and then you could use it to play with it and do whatever you want. So at the time, I created this system that would read my brain waves in real time, and I was wearing a camera on my forehead, and the whole thing connected to my laptop on a backpack, hooked to the internet through 4G or 3.5G at the time, I don't remember. And then what was happening was that I wrote this software that started to classify those brainwaves into possible emotional and mental states. So whatever I was looking at was recorded by the camera, and then whatever my brain was generating from that experience was filtered by this program, and then used my possible emotional states to do like real-time searches on Twitter about whatever was being written or commented related to those keywords, like let's say depression or happiness or whatever, and then it will grab the tweet and paste it over the video like a caption, like a closed caption. And at the end, there was this 7-day long subjective point of view documentary film with all these comments coming from what I call the data sphere, commenting on my emotional states about what was happening during that time through my eyes, what was coming in. And then I projected the entire thing to the community, and they watched themselves through my eyes, commented by, the data sphere or whatever you want to call it. And they were asking questions like, is this what you think about us? What is this? What's going on? And I felt that I was being a sort of techno shaman, like I was being a medium between two worlds. I was traveling to the data sphere, bringing back information, giving it back to the community. And somehow there was a process of, finding themselves through all this and maybe even healing or I don't know if maybe just hating me or whatever, because some of the comments coming from Twitter were pretty nasty at times. But it was a great experience. And I understood that techno shamanism was real. But that was the first time I did something like that.
Okay.
That's fucking.
Whoa!
I had to sit back and be like, "Wait, what? Where are we going?"
So the tweets that you were pulling. So you classify the brainwaves that are being picked up by NeuroSky, was it? NeuroScare thing. Now, are you composing random tweets, or are you grabbing hashtags and tweets related to the emotion that you're projecting? You're just grabbing random stuff.
Grabbing. Yeah. So that Twitter has an API, so you can you can just create an app on their developer platform and then get an API key, and then you can query for stuff.
Gotcha.
So what I was doing was, let's say brain waves there's research on that, right? So the brain waves, depending on the frequency they're producing, you could correlate them to, certain emotional categories.
Yeah. And after all the work that's being done on a regular basis, they kind of think, okay, well, this is the range people have expressed or communicated they're feeling this. And we kind of say, okay, this is the brainwave for fear, anxiety, depression, in a sense of as they're experiencing it. So I guess some of the tweets probably would be like related to like nothingness. I bet you're probably looking at like a fallen tree and someone's like, I hate my Big Mac.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
exactly.
Because you're getting this stream.
But sometimes it would be like scary accurate. Like really.
Okay.
Like sometimes, it could be a coincidence, but it's not fully a coincidence because there is a correlation between the parts, right?
Of course. So, and technology being the medium that's communicating the same experience felt by two people at different places, but potentially simultaneously. So created that connection through your interface. Exactly. What was the correlation to what you were seeing when you looked at like the ocean? Were you ever fearful, or were you when you looked at nature, were you like, I'm seeing peace here, or were you like, what was your experience as you put it?
Actually, it is quite accurate in that sense. So when you are like in nature with no one bothering, and then, you get more alpha waves and your brain relaxes, and then the nice words start to pop up in the software, and then you start getting really nice tweets. And then, but this is a very poor island. Like intensely poor, like African level poor, right? So sometimes it was quite tough as an experience. It was shocking at times for me. It was scary at times, and all of that was captured by the system somehow, and that made it really interesting. It was so important for them, the product of this system, that they asked me for a copy to put it in their cultural center, in their local community cultural center, and they keep it as an important, art reference there. And that was pretty nice. For me, that was enough, just to have them appreciate it. Then I felt, okay, this piece, this is done. This is done. It works. And yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, is that still available to view online to see all that?
Yeah, on my online and my personal portfolio, which is fii.to, that's my website. You'll find a trailer of the whole piece. The entire piece is where it's there in their cultural center. I hope it's still alive because I gave it to them in DVDs at the time. DVDs. So yeah, but I do have a copy on my one of my backup hard drives.
That'd be interesting to see.
Yikes. I am feeling overwhelmed. Let's see what Twitter says for being overwhelmed. I'm joking. That is so very impressive. What were we talking about before this?
Techno shamanism.
Right.
Something about weird NFTs or something.
Something about Pachanixi. Okay. So you have a project. Okay.
So let me tell you how from there Pachanixi evolves, because there is a path. There is a path.
Okay. Cool.
Believe it or not. I mean, the after that I did another piece called Agnosis, the Lost Memories. And I used a slightly more complicated or more complex brain-computer interface from a friend who started the company. He's from Parsons as well. The company is called OpenBCI. And he developed this amazing open source brain-computer scanner, brain-computer interface. And what I did was, with a similar system, I programmed the whole thing to capture moments that I probably wouldn't remember because of lack of attention or some other reasons. And then it will capture these moments and grab data from my brain, from my phone. So things like a picture of what was in front of me, GPS data, accelerometer data, gyroscope data, and then send all that as a package to an online server with an AI that will start generating stuff from that data. So it will generate an image from the data as a lost memory, and it will generate also a poem out of that lost memory.
You know what? Ryan does this for me. No big deal. When Ryan and I go places, I don't remember anything, and he just tells me, like when we had lunch. So I get it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, exactly, like a prosthetic Ryan, memory prosthetic Ryan.
You just have to feed him with cookies, you know.
Ice cream. Don't forget the ice cream.
Right.
So
sorry,
yeah, and then that was a second attempt of Techno Shamanism. And then when I actually started the whole NFT thing, my original idea was to take that and make NFTs out of my lost memories and sell them. So I started to talk to the guys from OpenBCI and some other companies, but people, not everyone is fully like into or open to NFTs and to sponsoring projects and things like that. So that never happened. And when my friend, my reforestation friend, let's call him like that, he came to me, then I thought this is the opportunity to bring many things together. So Techno Shamanism, helping nature, which is something that I'm really into, spirituality, art, all of it together. And that's how Pachanixi comes into existence. So basically it is an ecosystem, what we're trying to put together, that will enable us to do many things. One of them is what we are starting with, which is a what we call a serve to earn ecosystem. So very much inspired in a play to earn platform, but this one we call it serve to earn because all transactions in the platform have a real world impact in nature and in these indigenous communities we're working with at the moment. But eventually, Pachanixi will become as well another, let's say, engine for ideas like the ones I'm mentioning to become true. I mean, don't you think that memory will be digitalized eventually? And if so, why not making them NFTs?
I believe it will be, yeah.
Oh, wow. Never thought about that. But I've thought about digitizing memory. I think.
Well, you got Neuralink, right, with Elon,
right?
too.
Yeah, Neuralink. But I also
Neuralink. Sorry.
No, we're right. I also think of just like I'm a photographer. I have terabytes of photos, and I go back and check them. Their hard drive sitting on my desk right now. There's 3 of them, and that's a form of memory. You bring that up. Video is a form too. Like, I mean, as you captured it from, and like GPS embedded in those images. But yeah, I mean, now that you say that, I'm thinking to myself, wow, why haven't I thought about this? Because I have all these hard drives stored away here in the room and whatever, and I do have some DVDs as well. And it's like, I might as well just put this on the blockchain and just lock it up for myself, that I can always get to it whenever I need to. How I get to it, the interface might change over the years, but it's on the blockchain. It's on the blockchain. So yeah, we totally should. That's a great idea.
Yeah, so I believe, and well, that's what I define as techno shamanism. You see, like using all these technologies in, let's say, more esoteric ways, right? So thinking about death and digital technologies and NFTs. What about that? Thinking about other realms, spiritual realms and animal spirits and things like that through the lens of new media and technology. That's what I call techno shamanism. And if you can develop tools that actually use these technologies and somehow create a channel for us to interact with these other realms and dimensions and aspects of ourselves, then that's techno shamanism for me. Yeah. And that's what Pachanixi is aiming at in the long run, right?
Okay.
But to start with, we want to have an immediate real world impact, and we want to work with real shamans. We don't want to just be, crazy dudes like Fito who, create these weird devices, and it's fun and all, but we actually want to make real utility for all this stuff. So that's why we are working with shamans and indigenous communities that have been isolated for hundreds and perhaps over 1,000 years,
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Okay. Jeez. Okay. So
I have a random question.
Okay.
You know what? It's personal. You don't even have to answer. But have you ever done ayahuasca or any kind of?
I've done shrooms a few times and LSD. I've done many other things, but never ayahuasca. Yeah. So I'm planning to do it really soon and document it also for.
Oh, that's awesome! I'd love to see that. That's probably one of my bucket list items to actually try ayahuasca, but I didn't think I'd ever get to the other parts of the world where it's kind of legal, because it's not very. I know I had a friend actually that, I guess, a loophole in the U.S. He went to Florida with some church. And he was allowed to do it that way, but he hasn't spoken about it since. And it was like 2 years ago. He's like, I got to break some stuff down. He's like, I'm not ready to talk about it.
Oh,
I'm like, okay, no worries. And it was like 2 years ago that he did it. So still waiting to hear about it. But I've heard, it could be. I heard it's great. I mean, opens up everything, right? Like
that's right.
You answer to yourself.
That's right. So yeah, and you're totally right. I mean, in Colombia, it's legal as long as it's given to you by a shaman.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So our government protects this. Protects.
Yeah.
So whatever, but they do. There are some laws that protect the shamans from keeping their traditions, and so in the Amazon, in the rainforest part of Colombia, it's legal and it's fully active there. Also in Peru, actually, you find it like in shops and everything. You can buy like the bottles of ayahuasca and stuff, which I think is a bit too much. I mean,
yeah.
So one of the objectives we have is to be able to open a channel for our community to be able to get informed about this type of tools and use it with responsibility. Right.
That's great.
Knowledge directly from the shamans who actually brew the whole thing, and who actually grow the ayahuasca, right?
Yeah.
So it's not it's not second-hand knowledge. It's direct knowledge, and we have a few plans for that. One is through film. We want to have a channel for our Genesis pass holders so that they can get access to this knowledge, which is going to be films made by indigenous filmmakers, and in this way we can support them in their creative practice. Also, we are putting together, perhaps I mentioned this to you guys in CNFTCon, we are working on a meta space our first Metaverse space using the Rich Cloud engine from Rich Metaverse. They have a really nice engine for Unity. They have an SDK for Unity, and we are starting to experiment with it and putting together our first space, which will be only for Genesis Pass holders. And here you can join with your Ready Player Me avatar, and there will be what we call the Galactic Maloka, which is a Maloka is basically the place where shamans meet in some of the communities. So we are creating a techno shamanic version of a Maloka in a meta space, and with the Genesis Pass, you can come in, open the door, and join different sorts of events that will happen in there with real shamans and with other people from our community. And we will be sharing knowledge in there. We will be sharing films and things in there that are all related to shamanism, to techno shamanism, etc. So that's one of our first utilities in the metaverse, right?
Whoa. Okay. So
awesome.
Let's go back to the Genesis token.
Yeah.
Let's tell us about that. I mean, what does it look like if you want to? How many? How individuals can get their hands on it if it's available now?
Yeah.
Give us that rundown.
Okay. So the Genesis token is the first of our collections, right? It's the first one that we started to mint during CNFTCon, and it's been selling since then. And it's a utility token, basically. So there are 5 tiers or rarity types, right? And so we have the first one, which is made of stone. They all have the logo of Pachanixi that has been fully animated by generative techniques. So there's no keyframe animation. It's all generative. So I wrote it myself using Python within Blender. So if you check them out,
that's what's on the website, right?
That's on the website. Yeah. So there are 5 types, and each of them has different levels of rarity, and based on the rarity, the utility changes or varies. So they all give you access to becoming what we call a cosme, which is a member of the Council of Sacred Members of Pachanixi. And that comes with a whole series of benefits of their own, gives you a special role in our Discord community, which is now open. But many of the channels are private, only for Cosme holders. So future utilities include an infinite whitelist for spot, like one spot in each single drop that comes in the future for every NFT holder, every Genesis Pass holder. You get airdrops. So based on the rarity, you might get one or more NFTs from future collections airdrop to you. And that includes the Nixie Seeds and the Nixie Garden collections, which I can talk about later on. And then you get discounts in future sales. And we're planning to do a rarity-based staking mechanism in our own ecosystem, right? Which means you get Nixie tokens, which will be our in-game token, based on the rarity levels of your Genesis passes. And we have some other plans for the future, which include real life experiences of ayahuasca and things like that. So that might happen as well, as long as the shamans agree on that.
Ryan now is going to be trying to make sure he has one of those.
Mint.
so he can come down.
So the mint is live. On our website, if you go to pachanixi.com, you'll find the mint button either on our navigation menu, which is the burger button on the top right, or you scroll down to the section dedicated to the Genesis Pass, where you find either the minting button or the utility link. So you can go and check out all the utility I just mentioned on our website as well. And the mint is being done by Jeppel, which you guys probably are familiar with, and many people are, because they are awesome. So yeah, it's been working flawlessly. I think we are
awesome.
reaching 100 sales now,
Awesome.
which is pretty cool in a bear market.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see how that goes. We have to now we feel that it's the time, like we are in no rush to sell out or anything like that. It's not one of those projects, but we do want to sell out, of course, but we know it has its own rhythm, and we're getting there slowly, but we're getting there.
And I think, considering like as you described your project, it's you started talking about the metaverse first. That's what we remember. I remember when we were talking in person, you started talking about that first, and a lot of projects have metaverse further on down the roadmap. Why is that first for you? Is that because of the emphasis on connecting with your digital shaman, and is that why you want to create that meeting space first? Is that why?
Yes, because we need, we want to have an immersive digital experience from the start, right? Because Techno Shamanism, a lot of it will happen within this type of environments.
Okay.
And because we have the technical abilities to do so. Many projects, they start with NFT collections.
Yeah.
And as they grow, they start, building up the idea of a metaverse. But the co-founder, which is Diego, and we both have experience with 3D. He's a great 3D artist, and I'm also an artist and a developer myself. So we both have experience on this. So we can develop already prototypes of what we're talking about, and that's what we are starting to do now.
That's really cool. Let's actually move to that for a second, because I think people hear metaverse, and I don't know if everyone understands the scale of it. You can have something expansive and huge, or you can have something the size of like a couple rooms, right?
That's right.
And
That's
it
right.
could just suit the needs of. Do you have any insights or alpha or whatever into kind of what scale you might be focusing on first to kind of achieve your needs? Get that NFG alpha.
Yes. Actually, that's an amazing point of discussion, Devon, because people think that, there's one layer, which is the experience, the user experience. What you experience as a metaverse could be really huge as an experience.
Yeah.
You could have planets and galaxies and whatever you want.
Ready Player One.
Exactly. Ready Player One. But then in technical terms, it could all that entire universe could be made out of like 3 spaces.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, and most people don't know that, and that's what we're trying to implement in our system. It's a rich metaverse. Rich Cloud, they use something called the meta prefabs, and this will allow us to create spaces that can change, which means a single hosted meta space can have infinite variations. And depending on your asset, on your wallet, it will appear to you, will render to you differently. Right?
Whoa. Let's stop. I feel like we're talking about the mirror dimension from Dr. Strange. Oh boy. Okay. So prefab, think about like prefab homes or whatever, prefab constructs that you've digitally created. You're essentially assembling those blocks as they're delivered to the user differently based on what they have in their wallet.
Exactly.
Jesus, is anyone even doing that?
I'm not sure, but it was the first thing that came to my mind, because I've been working with generative art as part of my practice, and generative art basically uses data to generate form, right? Yeah. And shapes and color and all
like
this
Dolly, versions of Dolly and whatnot. Like, that's different because it is different data.
But think about it like this. You have an NFT on your wallet which has metadata.
Yeah.
This metadata can be used as an input to modify this meta space. So let's say you hold one of our Nixie Gardens NFTs that will come in the future, right? So Nixie Garden is it's like our land plot. And then you have a set of attributes in the metadata one of them could be, the terrain type, another one could be the ecosystem type, so on and so forth. And this is real data that is embedded within Cardano blockchain, right? So when you come into our platform, you go into our meta space, our metaverse, and you link your wallet. It recognizes your asset, it grabs the metadata, and based on the terrain type and all this metadata, it renders for you a unique experience because your metadata is unique.
Yeah,
that's what the whole point of NFTs
gotcha.
is.
That's
Gotcha.
crazy to think about. I haven't heard anybody even bring that.
No.
That's the only thing that reminds me of actually is you're talking about like generative art and kind of evolving. Have you looked or heard into the Remark protocol or Kusama blockchain?
Yeah, a little.
They have those NFTs, like say it's a dragon egg, and you can or the canaries. You can influence the egg by sending emoticons, and whatever you send actually changes the traits of what it will come when it's born. So if you send it like happy, 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 all happy emojis, then it's a happy bird. I don't know exactly how it worked, but that just reminded me of that, of being able to, send emoticons or having the user be able to change their experience based on maybe even their mood, right? Exactly. Almost like a live mood ring. It's like, I'm angry today. Let's go into this room and break things.
Exactly.
That's pretty interesting.
That's generative. Yeah, I didn't even think. Yeah, you connect your wallet. The NFT is there. The metadata it's right there. Like it should just be that. That's brilliant.
That's and it's economic, right? So So imagine, our Metacosmos will have like a series of nodes, and each node will have like gardens orbiting around it, and it's like a galaxy setup, right? So imagine that we had to actually create all those 3D immersive metaspaces. That would be ridiculously expensive in every single sense.
Okay. So now, since we're here, let's first of all, when you said that, the Galaxy, it reminded me of Super Mario Galaxy. Has anyone played that game?
Oh yeah.
Or was that Wii? Anyways.
Yeah, it was Wii, I think.
Yeah, that game, my favorite game ever. It was just great. Anyways.
Which is hilarious to hear because you were not a sports guy nor a video game guy.
No, I'm not.
And for you to bring up a game that I don't even know, like
it's
I don't
Super Mario
even
Galaxy. I'm telling you,
never played it.
It's amazing. It's so cool. It's really like my mind was blown.
That's awesome. That's hilarious.
Look at gameplay of it, and like it's hard to describe. Okay, so one thing I'm thinking of, I think we all think about Metaverse as, places we can go and mingle and interact and whatnot. So what if we are all getting this generative experience that's unique to us based on our metadata in our metadata and what we have? How do you merge with other people? What does that aspect look like? I'm in the metaverse orbiting a garden. You're in the metaverse orbiting a garden, but your garden looks a little bit different. Are we spatially in the same area and then the gardens blend together if I approach you, or do they not? And we never, or we just think we are, but we're seeing different things completely. How does that work? If you know that.
Yeah. So the way that we imagine it at the moment, and this we spoke with the team at Reach. We had a call about a month ago to speak about some technical details, and the way we envision it is that we can probably build this with 2 or 3 metaspaces, which means if you think about fractals, right? So you have this thing that repeats, right? So we had like different scopes for a project. So the first scope is the Metacosmos. That's the big view. And then you have the Nixie node, which is like, let's say like a star. And then around the Nixie node, so you have that view, that scope, where you see the entire node with all of its gardens orbiting around.
Okay.
So you have the Metacosmos where you see everything. Then you have the Nixie node where you just see that particular system with the gardens, and then you have the garden itself. So if I think about our project in 3 spaces, in 3 metaspaces, then the metaspace I use for the Nixie node can be used, the same one can be used for all Nixie nodes, because what changes It's the rendering of the experience, but the space is the same. The code is the same. What changes is the data that forms whatever is inside the content. And then, so then from the point of view of the node, from the point of view of the garden, so the garden, you are inside your garden. The garden will have like this dome on top, so you can see the outer space, and you can see the other gardens when they pass by, and you can see the center of the node. That's the idea. So in that sense, we can do that, because if we have 3 different meta spaces, each of them will be rendered. Like, for instance, the Nixie Garden gets rendered to you differently because of your NFT.
Yeah.
Right? But then someone with a different NFT cannot enter your garden, because the NFT is the access to the garden.
Right.
Right. So the NFT is not, the garden is not a public space. It's not a multi-user space. There will be multi-user spaces, but not the garden. Right. Gotcha. So everything that we need to make multi-user, then that's a different story. Right. That we cannot apply the technique that I'm talking about. But what can be done is that if I own a Nixie Garden, and if in the future we can come up with a system of invitations, like invite NFT. So I send you this 24-hour NFT that it's exactly like mine, with the same attributes as mine, and so on and so forth. Then you can come into my garden within the next 24 hours and experience it in the same way I do.
That's cool.
Right. So that perhaps we could do. I don't know. That's something we have to explore.
That would be cool.
If you have an NFT that's like a derivative of another one, parent and child relationship.
It's funny the way you were explaining the metaverse. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Country on Polkadot Metaverse. It was kind of like what you were saying. Like there was the center point, and then it was just like everything floating in this space, and you could jump to different worlds. And once you entered it, that's kind of what you were in. But then you could scope out again, and then you could see everything float. Exactly what you're saying.
Exactly. I mean, most people think that a metaverse is like an open world or something. It's not
like GTA 5.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people do think.
Everyone thinks it's a video game, open world video game, basically,
where you have an arena and we're all playing in there at the same time.
And it's not necessarily like that. We can do it in different layers, and we can create it in a way so that the experience seems very fluent, very seamless between one layer and the other. And you might not even notice that you change from one space to the other, right? So that's the whole point. It's like when you see Google Earth or something, and you zoom in all the way from like outer space into a spot. Like, it seems that it's a single space, but it's not. It's full of like all sorts of different, like, probably millions of images and stuff like that, right?
That's a great way to put it, that people don't think of it. It's just like, just zoom in, but you're probably just layer by layer by layer by layer by layer. Wow. Mm-hmm. I never even thought of it that way, man. That's a whole episode on its own, just about getting people thinking like metaverse is not going to be necessarily what you think it's going to be, but it's not going to be Call of Duty running around playing with people, or Ready Player One, the movie. Like, we're probably years away from that.
And you only need to render what you need to render, what's visible. Like you got to be data conscious, right? Like, computers can only process so much. You're on your phone, like, you don't need it to render everything. You're rendering your line of sight. That's something else. Also, I know Ryan and I mentioned this because we are, little NFGs Easter egg. We're focusing on getting a bit more into Remark and Kusama, but what you described there of someone having an NFT that has characteristics that render their metaverse for them. And then you say you might want to create some sort of a pass or something, essentially to create the same sort of guardian or whatnot, a derivative NFT or the same. Now we're not getting into a non-fungible token. We're getting to like semi-fungible tokens or fungible tokens, right? But going back to Kusama and Remark, so with the Remark protocol, NFTs can own other NFTs, and they can have parent and child relationships. You can have a plot of land that owns the house on it, and the house owns the NFT,
the billboard and all that.
Yeah, within them. And those can be bundled and sold off like that, but there's ownership there. So it's like that model could potentially be something you think about. And then even going forward, Remark Protocol, Kusama, all that stuff, they are actually, there's going to be a big update coming there where they're going to be EVM ready, but also they're looking to connect some of this capability to Cardano. They want to be able to bridge out. For more information on that, anyone listening, go check out our episode from March 17th with at Bitfalls, the creator of the Remark Protocol, and Fito will talk about all this stuff, of course. And anyways, wow.
It was like a quick. That was a 30-second commercial break. That wasn't.
I know it was a commercial break for ourselves too. I was like, cool, since you're on this podcast, go check out more of this podcast. Yeah, I have no tact for this kind of stuff. Sorry about that. I did not expect to get. What do you want? So someone listening, what do you want them to do, and what can you tell them about the roadmap? Because like what we're talking about, is this stuff going to be ready next week? Or is it going to be ready next year or the next 2 years?
Yeah, so we have a roadmap on our website as well. Our current plan is to use the funding we're getting from the Genesis Pass to fuel the process, right? And be able to mint the Nixie Seeds collection hopefully by the end of this year or the beginning of next year. That's going to be a big collection. Like the Genesis Pass collection is a small collection, but the Nixie Seed, it's a big one, and it will have over 150 trades and the whole thing. And it's going to be like the first step into our metaverse. All right. So hopefully at Q2 of 2023, we will launch our Nixie Garden NFT collection, which basically gives access to the meta spaces of the Nixie Gardens. And the way this whole ecosystem works, at least this part of it that we have envisioned so far, is that with the Nixie Garden NFT, you access a meta space, which is unique. And it has its unique attributes. And then you can plant these Nixie Seed NFTs. And each garden will probably have between 1 and 5 slots for planting Nixie Seed NFTs. And then you can harvest primordial energies, which will be off-chain, say, tokens or scores that can then be used to create on-chain NFTs, right? So you can use these resources to craft new items within the Nixie Garden that can help you enhance or upgrade your Nixie plants so that you can produce more and more resources. And then that's the way you earn. And so what do you earn? You earn Nixie. And Nixie will be our in-game token. And Nixie will allow you to do all sorts of different things in the future within our ecosystem. And that's just the beginning of the whole ecosystem of the Techno Shamanic metacosmos, right? We have many other plans that we don't speak about right now because we feel that it's already a lot for people to digest. So we go slowly with that. So far, the immediate plan, our roadmap goes all the way to 2024 at the moment, the public roadmap. But if you check it out, you'll see that our immediate plan is to, we launched the Genesis token. With that, some utility that it's coming soon, including like our Nixie token and some airdrops of that. And then our Nixie Seeds, then Nixie Gardens, and then we deliver the entire ecosystem that can operate with those 3 collections. And from there, we plan to keep building up. Now, the whole aim of this is not just to have fun, earn. That's going to happen. But the point is that with every single transaction that happens within our ecosystem, with our mechanics, we will be planting trees in our camp in Venezuela. So we have an entire operation that we're trying to back up now with a nonprofit, which is for every single $35 US, we can plant a tree and take care of it for 20 years. which is pretty cheap.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
And then we work with indigenous communities and shamans and help them with their creative practice and so on and so forth.
I have a quick question in regards to, helping plant trees and stuff. Do you guys take donations? Is that an option for people?
Yes. So one of the mechanisms we will try to implement with the people from Yepo is that during the mint of the Nixie seed collection, we might even we can set up a mint price, but then we can also allow an extra fee for donations, so the smart contract can deal with the difference in the payment. But yes, of course we do.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe even throwing just like a random wallet address on the site, or getting an ADA handle or something and naming it.
For sure.
Tree donation or something, and having people just if they can't afford to mint, or even though the mint price is great, maybe people just want to donate, right?
For sure. I mean, actually, that's a great idea. We've been much into NFTs that we totally forgot that people could just donate.
Yeah. That's great. What is the mint price?
For the Genesis Pass is 55 ADA.
Okay.
And you can get up to 10 for a single transaction. And then just check out all the utility and the benefits that it brings, because it could be quite a nice deal for the future.
Awesome.
That's awesome. I have one more question.
Yeah.
I know, Devon. What is the logo exactly? To me,
that's a good question.
I'll say what
I meant to ask that.
To me, I'm gonna say it's like a bowl or a cup with the life-changing experience.
Something. Yeah. I was wondering, and then I was like, is it a plant? Like I literally, I'm so glad you asked.
Maybe it's Nixie seeds. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe it's a tree of life. What is it, man?
Yeah.
What is it?
So it's a mix of a few of those. So you see, it does have like a sort of a tree shape, right?
Yes.
Quite abstract. And then in the center you have these pixels.
Yeah.
Which, if you see in different presentations of our different assets, they are randomly shifting, changing.
Yeah.
So that is what we call Nixie. But at the same time, it works almost as a portal. So we will be using this shape as a portal gate for many of our spaces and worlds and things like that. So, and our seeds will be full of Nixie as well, but with different colors. And I mean, we have an entire a beautiful art for it.
Design language, I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
I love it.
Woo! We're recording early, obviously, but this episode will drop on Thursday, October 20th, 2022. And we are going to have a giveaway for Genesis Pass, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
So follow. It'll be something of what you've seen before. You'll have to follow Non-Fungible Guys. Of course, you'll have to follow Pachanixi. But keep an eye out when we drop the episode. It'll be linked together with our giveaway. And some of the you just have to wait for the details. But you heard it here first.
That's right. Yeah. Get your Genesis Pass either for a giveaway or just get one from our mint side.
I was gonna say, and if you don't win, just go mint one.
That's right.
One. Yeah, that's true.
That's it.
Definitely.
That's it.
Frig. What an episode, right? Do you remember when we were talking about Neuralink and Neurosky and Twitter? And then, oh geez, wow, Fito, quite the guy. Also talking about the fact that he's sick, but then moving around from Mexico to Colombia, the tree planting in Venezuela. Oh my goodness! Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This has been so exciting. I don't know about Ryan, but I've had a great time. Ryan?
Yeah, this has been amazing. I could sit here all day talking about, ayahuasca and life, and I don't know. I could go deep. I'm not necessarily spiritual, but I could definitely. I'm open to talking about all that stuff. I love it. So
yeah,
it's
definitely resonating with us big time. Yep. I don't know. I think that this is a project that we'd love to watch and see what's happening. Hop in the Discord, people. If you're here, hop on the website, get into the Discord. They also have an Instagram. I like them. They're doing a lot of stuff. I like it.
Yeah.
I guess that's that. Fito, what are your closing words for the community?
Well, thank you guys. First of all, for having me on the show. It's been amazing. I mean, I really love you guys, and I really love the chill atmosphere and the openness
Yeah.
of the.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
totally, man, totally.
I love
I
hearing
mean,
that.
yeah,
I do.
yeah, definitely.
Because like, I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes Ryan and I are like, oh man, maybe we should like, tighten it all up, and then we start talking, and then it's just this is how we want to do it. This is how the podcast has to go. We're here to talk and enjoy the space.
That's right.
You'll see we're not like crazy grinding hard and doing all this stuff and being like we got to get this. We're just like happy to be here and learn about what's going on, and it never ceases to provide that value. It's pretty amazing being able to talk to all these people, of course, like yourself. When we met you at CNFT we were having a great time, and here we are. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast, sharing everything. It's been a while since we've heard a project that's doing things differently like this. You flipped so much of it on its head, going metaverse route first, but in the generative sense. There's so much here. The techno shamanic, what's the other word? Something metacosmos. I do like that. Yes, we are going to be in very, very close contact with you, my friend. And you're so talented. Like you Python scripted the moving Nixie, and everything. Yeah, really, really cool.
Oh yeah, we do. I mean, we yesterday, the day before yesterday, we implemented our first wallet connect system in our website, which was awesome because I've never developed anything for blockchain before. It's a totally different story, right? So we developed this wallet connect button so that Genesis Pass holders can now go to pachanixi.com/cosme, and you can connect your wallet. We verify that you hold a Genesis Pass, and then you can you log in through our website with your Discord ID, and once you verify, you click on a button and you get automatically a role in our Discord server, and all of it from our website, which is awesome. And
I like that.
And I mean, we learn so much every time we come up with an idea in Pachanixi, and we do it all ourselves, except the minting. This was Yepo. They are awesome.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, all right.
Everyone needs to go get a Genesis Pass.
Go get your Genesis Pass.
Yeah.
If
go
you go
to pachanixi.com and you can get a Genesis Pass. You'll find links to our Discord, Twitter there as well, and Instagram. You can check our roadmap is there. Which is an interactive, nice widget we have there. We have a frequently asked questions or a Q&A section as well as there. Our team is fully doxed, so you can find the main members there and read about them as well. So check it out, guys. Check it out and see what we're capable of. And if you like it, just support us with the Genesis Pass and get all the benefit that come with it.
Hell yeah. And the website's beautiful, FYI.
It really is. Yeah, we didn't mention that. And like one thing I'll say is if you want to see like all the Genesis passes, go on their Instagram. They have a post that has them sitting there because on the website it's sitting, but it's cool if you to see them all sitting there.
That's right.
Woo!
Oh, you met Charles too. I just went on the Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We missed
that was incredible.
Yeah. Okay, shoot. Well, that's all, folks. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, enjoy this podcast. We will have another one next week for you, as we always do. Go to our Twitter, follow Pachanixi, follow Non-Fungible Guys, Ryan. You can follow me if you want, but it's not as important as the rest of the people I've just mentioned. And I think with that, just remember that we love you. And
smooches Ryan, and kisses.
Are we gonna say the together?
What? NFTs. We out.
Yeah, we did it. All right.
So stupid.
Awesome. Yes.
Cool.
Okay,
thank you, guys.
Oh man. Okay, let's stop recording here.